Hello, friends.
Welcome to episode 12 of our podcast, Kidsplorers. We're so excited that you're joining us on our journey to explore and discover new things. You might remember that in our last episode, we explored teeth. We learned about why and when children lose their teeth and what we need teeth for. We also learned about a group of teeth called the wisdom teeth, which are located at the very back of the mouth and start to come out when we're adults. And, of course, to make sure that our listeners keep their teeth nice and healthy, we learned about how to best take care of them. After covering this important topic, Daniel suggested that we should explore another interesting one. Daniel, want to take the lead?
Of course. I'm super excited about today's topic. I've been hearing about this really interesting person named William Shakespeare, but I know very little about him, so I'm very excited to explore more about him today. But to do this, I thought that we should head out to one of my favorite places in Ontario and the closest place in Canada that keeps William Shakespeare's legacy alive.
Oh, that's a great idea. I love a good road trip. So, where are we heading?
To the city of Stratford, Ontario, of course.
Yay! I just love Stratford. But wait a minute. What does the city have to do with Shakespeare?
I'm also super curious about this connection. The sooner we get ready, the sooner we'll figure it out.
Yay! Road trip.
To the car! We're here.
This was a long drive.
Hey guys, did you see all the farm animals on the way? This is why I love the drive. It has such beautiful scenery.
Me too. I loved all the nature on the way. Hey, look over there. Is that Professor Smartypants walking by the river?
No, that can't possibly be him.
Let's go over there and check.
Isabella, you're right. It is Professor Smartypants.
Friends, hello! It's so nice to see you. How is it that we are meeting all the way in Stratford?
You see, Professor, this week we decided to learn all about William Shakespeare. In all the reading I did, it said that the best place to learn about him in Canada is Stratford, Ontario. So this morning, we all agreed to take this awesome field trip here.
Yes, and Daniel really did not have to do a lot of convincing of me and Isabella. We fell in love with this beautiful and magical little city the last time that we visited, so it made sense to return here today to explore how Stratford is connected to Shakespeare.
But wait a minute, Professor, we never talked about meeting here today. What brings you to Stratford?
It really is a cool coincidence that we see each other here. You see, since Daniel mentioned last week that he was curious about exploring William Shakespeare, who happens to be one of my most favorite playwrights, it got me thinking of my favorite play of all time, Midsummer Night's Dream. So when I got home, I checked the play schedule at the Stratford Avon Theatre and discovered that they are running this play today. I quickly bought a ticket and was waiting all week to come here to watch it.
And let me guess, that play was written by William Shakespeare.
Ding, ding, ding. You are correct. Midsummer Night's Dream is an incredible funny play written by Shakespeare. It's a story about a wedding, fighting fairies, and a few very confused and in love people.
Oi, this sounds so complicated.
You're right. Most of Shakespeare's plays were quite complicated. Here, why don't we sit at this bench to figure out exactly who William Shakespeare was and what made him so important to people today?
That's a great idea. And this way we could watch the ducks, geese, and swans swim.
Okay, so what do we know about William Shakespeare?
Well, All I know is that Shakespeare was born in England and that he was a playwright.
And I know that he wrote a play about a Danish prince. I know this because Daddy's from Denmark.
You're both right. Well, you guys know that when we explore a topic, I like to start at the beginning to make sure that I don't miss a thing. Should we do it this time too?
Of course.
Great. But actually, in the case of William Shakespeare, we're not 100% sure when the beginning is. Most of the information I found says that he was born on April 26, 1564. He was born in England, like Daniel said, in a small town called Stratford-upon-Avon.
Hold up, Stratford, like the Stratford that we're at right now?
Ah, well, this is where it gets interesting. The city we're in, which is Stratford, Ontario, is not the same Stratford where Shakespeare was born. But there is a connection there. Stratford, Ontario was named after the city of Stratford-upon-Avon in honor of the great playwright Shakespeare. If you drive through the city, as we have today, you will notice quite a few mentions of Shakespeare. You could see his name on different plays at local theaters and different businesses like restaurants and hotels. The place which shows this connection the most is the beautiful Shakespearean gardens in the city center. It is a beautiful garden with many plants and flowers, as well as a statue of William Shakespeare himself.
This sounds beautiful. I would love to walk there later.
It is a beautiful place. Guys, I'd like to tell you a bit more about what Susanna was saying. You see, the city we are in has another connection to the city where Shakespeare was born. The city in England is called Stratford-upon-Avon because it is located by a river called Avon that flows close by. What's interesting is that the river we're sitting beside at the moment is also named Avon. Today, many of Shakespeare's plays can be seen during the infamous Stratford Festival. Many of its plays are presented in the infamous Avon Theatre, which is also named in honor of the river which flow in both of the Stratford cities. These, of course, are not coincidences. Stratford, Ontario was founded in honor of the English city and the man who made it famous.
Wow, that's so interesting. Now I understand why we chose this city to explore this topic, which brings me back to wondering about why William Shakespeare was so well known.
Great question. You see, William Shakespeare lived more than 400 years ago, but his contributions to the English language have left a huge impact. His works have shaped and added a lot to the English language, but have also been translated to many other languages and are well known around the world.
That's right. His literary journey started in the year 1592. At this time, William Shakespeare, along with his wife, Anne Hathaway, and their children, moved to London, where he worked as a writer and actor. However, very soon after they arrived, a dangerous and deadly disease spread across much of the world. This disease was called the Black Plague. Because of how dangerous it was, many businesses closed down to try to lower the spread of the illness, including theaters.
Wait a minute. The Black Plague sounds a lot like the coronavirus.
That's a great connection, Isabella. There have been many pandemics throughout history, and the Black Plague was also one of them. For the time that this deadly illness spread across London, theaters were not able to remain open. During this time, Shakespeare had to come up with another way of making money. He began to write poetry and plays.
By the time the theaters reopened in the year 1594, people missed plays so much that they all quickly ran to buy their tickets to the shows. And since Shakespeare had 2 whole years to work on plays, the actors had a lot of work lined up for them. This must have been the best time to be a playwright and an actor.
At this time, Shakespeare joined an acting group called the Lord Chamberlain's Men. This theater group was responsible for putting on plays for members of the royalty and other wealthy people. This meant that the theater and actors would be making great money.
Word got out that the Lord Chamberlain's group was putting on incredible shows, becoming so popular that everyone wanted to watch their plays. This, of course, kept Shakespeare very busy with writing plays. He was slowly building up a name for himself, and business was booming.
For the next 20 years, Shakespeare wrote 37 plays and put on countless productions of them. His plays were often focused on themes of tragedy, comedy, and history.
I understand what comedy and history are, but what is a tragedy?
Plays with a theme of tragedy present themes of human suffering and terrible events that usually happen to the main characters. When I was in grade 11, my class was studying one of Shakespeare's most well-known plays called Hamlet. This is a play that Isabella mentioned at the beginning. Hamlet is a Danish prince who watches his family fall apart. Towards the end of the play, the character of Hamlet has a speech which starts with the famous line, "To be or not to be? That is the question."
But of course, not all of his plays were quite so serious. The play I will be watching today is a comedy. Midsummer Night's Dream is a story which takes place in Athens and is filled with tricks played on different characters, other characters going mad, and lots of magic. This story is so loved to this day that modern-day Hollywood movies based on this play have been produced more than 400 years after Shakespeare has died.
This is incredible!
Hey guys, I have a super interesting fact for you. Did you know that around the time that Shakespeare was an actor and playwright, all the actors for the roles were men?
Wait, so Shakespeare wrote plays with no women characters?
Oh no, there were women characters, but there were no women actors.
How is that possible?
You see, women were not allowed to be actors at this time. This meant that men actors played even those characters that should have been played by women.
That's right. There were a lot of very strict and unreasonable rules at this time that did not allow women to act on stage. It was considered inappropriate and was even illegal for a woman to act. So even characters like the characters of Juliet from Shakespeare's famous play Romeo and Juliet was played by a male actor.
That can't be right. That's so unfair. Some of the best actors I know are women.
I agree. I'm so happy that this law is gone. But now that you mentioned Juliet, I'm curious about this play.
Romeo and Juliet is a story of two young people who fall in love, but their love is not allowed because their families are enemies with each other. There's a lot of heartbreak and sadness. Can you guess which category this play falls under?
It cannot possibly be a comedy. I would guess that it's a tragedy.
You are correct.
I wanted to tell you one more thing before I leave for my play. Shakespeare had a huge impact on modern-day English. Many of the phrases we use today were actually invented by him and used in his plays. For example, the word puking comes from a comedy he wrote called As You Like It. It describes a baby spitting up food.
Another famous saying of his is vanish into thin air. I actually said it just this morning when I couldn't find my keys. I said that they must have vanished into thin air, meaning that they just disappeared. Another saying I like is a heart of gold. When you say that someone has a heart of gold, you mean that they're very kind and helpful.
He also created the saying wild goose chase, which today means a hopeless chase after something. And one saying that I use very often, which was invented by Shakespeare, is all of a sudden, which really just means suddenly.
These are just a few phrases, but there are many, many more. And he also invented many new words that were never part of the English language before. He had a huge impact on the language we speak today, and without his contributions, English would have sounded very differently.
Wow, I really loved learning about William Shakespeare.
Me too. He sounds like such a creative and smart guy.
Guys, it was so nice running into you. I think I will slowly start making my way to the theater. The play is starting soon. Would you guys like to join me? I am sure that you will absolutely love it.
Can we?
Yes, can we, Mommy?
Of course we can. Hey guys, I want to suggest a topic that we can explore next week. On April 10th, Isabella will be celebrating her 6th birthday. We were talking about this, and she asked me how different cultures celebrate their birthdays. I thought that we should explore exactly that.
Oh, I love this idea. I'd love to know the different ways in which birthdays are celebrated around the world.
Yay, me too. Let's do it.
Great! Friends, join us again next Sunday as we explore how birthdays are celebrated in different parts of the world. Professor, it was so nice running into you in the beautiful city of Stratford, Ontario. Thank you so much for helping us learn about William Shakespeare and even a bit about the beautiful city of Stratford, Ontario. We really hope that you guys liked today's episode. We would be so excited if you would share our podcast with all your friends who you think would like to join us on our explorations. We always look forward to hearing from you about any feedback and suggestions for what you'd like us to explore in future episodes. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram by searching Explorers Podcast. In the meantime, if you liked our episode today, we will be so excited if you could give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other platform that you listen to us on. It will mean so much to us, and it will help our podcast grow. And this is it, the